Would it be smart to sell your Bitcoin now and then buy back lower? In this video, I want to explore the answer to this question. Let's get started. I got this comment from somebody on one of my posts. He said, Rajat, Bitcoin might go down. Why hold? Why hold on for dear life? Why not wait for it to go down and then buy? And my response to this was pretty simple. What if it doesn't go down to the levels that you expect that it will? And you're hoping it gets to those levels, but it doesn't happen. And I want to talk about how people come to their conclusions of whether they're going to buy Bitcoin, hold Bitcoin, sell Bitcoin in the short term, in the long term. And I want to give you a couple of different examples of different players who may be there to manipulate you into selling. They may be there to give you their opinion, but they don't understand Bitcoin. There may be people who are short-term players who just want to make a quick buck and then leave. There could be swing traders, people who have a 1, 2, 3 year time horizon. My assumption is that if you're watching my videos, your time horizon is 4, 5, 6, 10, 15 years, as long as possible. You have to remember that every decision you make will either come back to haunt you or it will reward you in the future. So in the future, either you'll hate yourself for making every decision or you'll really respect yourself and you'll be very happy that you made that decision. So let me give you a couple of examples of people who are in the market who maybe don't have the same intentions as you. So first of all, we'll start with Jamie Dimon. So I made this post quite a long time ago. This was December 6th, 2023. I think I must have posted it. Yeah, same day I posted it. So I said how Bitcoin directly competes with Jamie's business. Jamie Dimon is JP Morgan's CEO. He said that he would close down Bitcoin because in my opinion, he's scared of competition. He has that incentive that he wants his business to survive. And maybe he thought he was too late to Bitcoin. I don't know. I don't know what it could have been, but he didn't like Bitcoin. So he said that he wants to shut it down. If I was the government, I'd close it down. He wasn't giving it his approval. And I think that this is because Bitcoin disrupts banking. If you want to go to a regular bank, you have to deal with all these regulations. You have to open an account at a certain age. They'll ask you to take your own money out. There's all these speed bumps that make the legacy banking system so difficult to use and just so annoying. I was trying to speak to somebody at the bank today, and it took an hour and a half on hold before I even got to someone. An hour and a half. I had no idea how long it would take. I had no idea. They didn't give me any timings for how long it'll take. They didn't give me a callback number or anything like that. It was just super annoying. If I wanted to do something similar with Bitcoin, I would have no issues doing it. I'd be able to set up the transaction that I wanted to set up very quickly. If I wanted to borrow against Bitcoin, I could have that entire transaction done within maybe a few minutes, and then they release the money in the next couple of days or so, but you get the money very quickly. Whereas in the legacy financial system, it could take weeks for you to get a line of credit approved, for example. So something changed along the way with Jamie Dimon. So JP Morgan, the same bank that Jamie Dimon runs, is now about to start accepting Bitcoin as loan collateral. So what happened here? What about all the people who in 2023 didn't buy Bitcoin because Jamie Dimon said it's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme, it's a pyramid scheme, and all that? What happens to all those people? Did those people get an apology for not buying Bitcoin because they didn't buy? They listened to Jamie Dimon. They made a financial decision because of what he said. This is why I say that you have to understand what somebody else's incentives are. If somebody has different incentives compared to what you have, let's say you're a long-term holder and they just want to trade for the next 5 minutes, there's a completely different story there. There's a completely different reason for why you even hold Bitcoin in the first place. You're holding it to build long-term wealth. You create value somewhere else, and then you buy Bitcoin because you know that 4 years, 8 years, 10, 12, 15 years down the line, it'll be worth more. Whereas the trader wants to make money in minutes or seconds or hours. They're not even close to your time horizon. Your time horizon is 4 or 5, 10 years. Their time horizon is in minutes. It's a fraction of what you have. So for them, they need to predict what's going to happen in the short term. They need to see, let's say, what Jamie Dimon is saying. They need to see what JP Morgan is doing because their money comes as a result of these headlines. So if they see these headlines, they expect that the market will go up and they buy. They use leverage to buy. If they see a negative headline, they take leverage and they sell and they short. So you have different incentives here. You're not using leverage, you're just buying and holding while they have the incentive of trying to get as quick of a gain as possible. They're earning money from this. You're earning money from somewhere else and you're putting your money into this. You're storing your money in this. Then we have a different example. You can see here one place you won't find a Bitcoin ETF, Jack Bogle's Vanguard. This is January 11th, 2024. I made quite a few posts saying that Vanguard will eventually bend the knee because everybody needs Bitcoin. If you listened to Vanguard, and I had people who told me Vanguard isn't offering Bitcoin because it's garbage. They don't want to offer the Bitcoin ETFs because it has no intrinsic value, it has no real value, all that stuff. I got a lot of that pushback. And guess what? This week, Vanguard lifted their Bitcoin ETF ban. Bitcoin jumped 6% as a result of that. I don't know if that's the direct result of it, but you can see here, IBIT, which is BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, had $1 billion of volume in the first 30 minutes of trading. That's insane. IBIT is one of the most profitable ETFs that BlackRock has. So again, what was their incentive? At first, maybe their incentive was that they didn't want Bitcoin to disrupt their index fund business. They have all these index funds that they're charging a fee on. They're making tons of money on them. If they start offering BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, then maybe that cannibalizes their business. So what's their incentive there? They want to help their own business survive. Same thing with Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan. They wanted their own business to survive. They hadn't seen the benefits of Bitcoin. Maybe at that point they didn't understand what it is, but now maybe they see that it is worth having Bitcoin on your platform. Maybe JP Morgan sees that it is worth using Bitcoin as collateral to give out fiat loans. Fiat can be printed out of thin air, but your client is giving you real Bitcoin as collateral for it. That's the best collateral that you can have, and you can print as much money against it if you want, as you want to. And over time, people will leave their collateral at JP Morgan and they'll keep their loans and they'll never pay them back. So now JP Morgan has this way of making money where they're creating permanent revenue streams. So when people don't pay back their loans, JP Morgan can keep refinancing their loans and keep earning more and more interest over time, and that keeps compounding over time, and they keep making more and more money. They've potentially created a permanent revenue stream by accepting Bitcoin. So before, they had the incentive of making their own business survive. Now they have the incentive of earning money by using Bitcoin as collateral. And then the last example here, Warren Buffett. This is one that a lot of people quote for me. They tell me, oh, Warren Buffett doesn't want Bitcoin, so why would I want it? It's this guy here, this 95-year-old. He's a really great investor, but he's 95. I don't think he quite understands what Bitcoin is. I don't think he has the incentive to study Bitcoin. The financial system already worked. Why would he want to? I mean, I'm assuming that he's probably going to pass away soon within the next 5 to 10 years. I don't think he sees the value in studying Bitcoin. So if you're taking his advice and you're not a 95-year-old, you're not going to die in the next 5 to 10 years, again, you're playing a different game. He has this game where he needs to keep his legacy. In the next 5 to 10 years, Bitcoin could do really well, but it's not like the stock market is going to go to zero. Very, very unlikely that it goes to zero. He could continue what he's doing and still pass away as the greatest investor of all time, because the stock market will continue to go up because it's designed to work that way. He understands that. He doesn't understand Bitcoin. If you've put in the time to understand Bitcoin, you have this asymmetrical opportunity that Warren Buffett isn't taking advantage of. So in 2018, he said, if I could buy a 5-year put on every cryptocurrency, I would. I know people are going to say, oh, cryptocurrencies aren't Bitcoin. Bitcoin isn't crypto. But I think he meant that he would include Bitcoin in this. At the time, Bitcoin was $14,101. So Warren Buffett has no clue what Bitcoin is, but people still quote him. I guarantee you there's going to be people in the comments. If I mention this, maybe they won't do it, but there are tons of people in my comments who always say Warren Buffett doesn't buy Bitcoin. Why would I buy Bitcoin? Warren Buffett's the greatest investor of all time. They'll tell me that I have no idea what I'm talking about. And I think the people who are listening to him are falling for a trap. They're falling for this trap that he's going to pass away as the greatest investor of all time, no matter what. But if you're a millennial and you're buying the stock market, I think you could be headed for a trap where you're used as exit liquidity by older generations. They're going to sell their stocks to you. You're going to be left holding the bag. Future generations probably won't want stocks as much as the older generations did. You have people leaving comments like this who clearly have authority bias. They think that just because Warren Buffett makes a lot of money, he is the only one that you need to follow. But again, you're playing a different game from him. He's already a multi-billionaire. He has $100 billion. You probably don't. If you don't have $100 billion, you're probably not looking to just maintain your portfolio. You're probably trying to grow it. If you're a millennial, you're probably trying to grow your portfolio. If you haven't retired yet, again, you're probably trying to grow your portfolio. So you don't have to be a millennial. You could be Gen X. You could be a baby boomer. You could be Gen Z. You could be any age and still not want to follow his advice just because he has a lot of money. That's a stupid reason to follow somebody's advice. Just because they've done well doesn't mean that you're going to do well as well. That's like me saying that I play hockey, and if you want to learn from me, all you have to do is read this book that I wrote. When you actually go to play, you're not going to know what you're doing. You're going to panic. And that's exactly what's happening here. Warren Buffett is telling you that it worked for him, and it worked, but it was a different era. It was a different situation. At the time, he was buying stocks, and not everybody got the opportunity to buy stocks. So he was early to the stock market, first of all. Now, everybody has access to the stock market. A lot of companies are already way overvalued. They've already gone up a lot. While his strategy might work for you, I don't think that it's going to help you retire early. His strategy is to invest in the stock market and to just buy index funds. If you're buying index funds, you probably have a goal of retiring in 30, 35, 40 years. I don't want to do that. And I'm assuming that my audience doesn't want to do that either. I want to be able to retire or be work optional with the opportunity to retire if I wanted to. If I want to stop making videos, I want to stop making videos at some point. If I don't want to work a job, I don't want to be forced to work a job. That's my goal. My goal is to have freedom. I don't want to be tied to one thing for the next 40 years just because my survival in the last 20 years of my life rely on it. My goal is to become financially free early so that I don't have to rely on an employer, so that I can have control over my life. So, should you sell your Bitcoin and buy back lower? I don't personally think so. If you're in the same situation as me, if you want to become financially free, if you have a, let's say, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20-year time horizon, I don't think that you should. I think that you should be holding. If anything, I think you should be accumulating. I think that if Bitcoin does go lower, you should still buy more. But what if it doesn't go lower? What if you make this decision to sell your Bitcoin? Let's say you sell it at 91,000, whatever the price is, $93,000 right now. You sell your Bitcoin and then it only goes up. What if we never have those 60, 70% drawdowns again? I'm not saying that they won't happen. I'm saying, what if they don't happen? Play this from the perspective of the type of player that you are. If your goal is to build wealth, you should be stacking as much Bitcoin as you can. If your goal is to trade in and out of Bitcoin and to make money on the swings, then I don't know what you would do. I can't really read charts that well. I can't tell you what the trend is doing. I personally think that over the long term, Bitcoin is only going to go up, but that comes with a very long time horizon. You have to hold Bitcoin for a long time to actually benefit, but people don't want to deal with volatility. They don't want to be there to watch their portfolio drop 60, 70, 80%. I'm perfectly okay with it. I know that I'm not going to need the money for the next maybe 10, 15 years minimum. And I'm okay with my portfolio dropping 95%. It just means that my income that I'm earning will buy more Bitcoin at that time. And I plan to keep creating value. I plan to keep working. I plan to keep working until I have the opportunity to stop. But even then, I'll probably continue to work because I'm doing what I love. I like what I do. I create value for other people. It's very fulfilling. They see a benefit in their lives from my work, and I will continue doing this as long as I can, and I'll continue converting any excess productivity into Bitcoin. Like I've said in my old videos, I don't care if the price goes down. I'm not selling just because I think the price is going to go down. I know that the price is going to go up over the long term. I don't care what happens in the short term. The US dollar price is truly a distraction in my mind. So my personal suggestion would be don't sell your Bitcoin and try to buy back lower. It's going to be extremely stressful. If Bitcoin does go up, you're going to hate yourself. You're going to hate the decision that you made. And in 15, 20 years, if you end up with a lot less Bitcoin because of this decision to trade, and then Bitcoin just skyrockets, you're never going to forget it.